have to make the promoter say, man, we need to give Vitor another chance. You know, he deserves it.
Vitor Belfort, the winner by submission.
I like Vitor, but it's just in my way. I'm confident I'm gonna knock him out. What can I say?
Wow!
The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal. Criminal copyright infringement is investigated by federal law enforcement agencies and is punishable by up to 5 years in federal prison and a fine of $250,000.
I don't think this fight will go to the distance, and I hope to finish him in 1 or 2 rounds.
I think Mousasi will bring the best out of Vitor, and it's going to be a fantastic night.
Honestly, I don't pay much attention to what he says. You know, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is what happens fight night, and I'm going to make sure that I go out there and beat his ass.
I'm going to beat him up and then drag him into deep waters where he's swinging and he's gasping for fresh air, and then I'm going to knock him out in the 3rd round.
Time to end this suffering. I need a minute to myself. So why? You will never get to me. What can't be done, I'll do myself. So why? What do I do wrong? What do I lose control? What do I do wrong? No one. I'm wrong. To right. What do I do wrong? What do I lose control? What do I do wrong? No one. I'm wrong. To right. You will never get to me. What can't be done, I'll do myself. What do I do wrong? What do I lose control? What do I do wrong? No one. I'm wrong. To right. Face the pain, no escape to the step to this. Face the pain, no escape to the step to this. Face the pain, face the pain. Ripping me into pieces. Face the pain, no escape to the step to this. Face the pain, no escape to the step to this. Face the pain, face the pain. Ripping me into pieces. Into pieces.
A testament to the power of persistence. Michael Bisping's road to a UFC title came to a triumphant conclusion in June when he defeated Luke Rockhold. Now, the next chapter begins at home in Manchester. His opponent, a familiar one, Dan Henderson, who after a storied career will undoubtedly be in the Hall of Fame. Dan Henderson has said tonight's main event will be his last, but before he exits the octagon for the final time, he's determined to leave with the middleweight belt. Welcome inside Manchester Arena. 4th time we've been in Manchester. What a crowd tonight. This is UFC 204. Bisping versus Henderson. Sponsored by Gears of War 4. Available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now. Closed captioning brought to you by Kevin Hart. What Now? The comedy event that made history. In theaters everywhere this Friday. Tickets on sale now. Tonight's broadcast is available in 100% Spanish. Let's get things started. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg. Welcome once again to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He is by far the greatest British mixed martial artist of all time. And what a journey it has been for the count. Michael Bisping, Season 3 Ultimate Fighter winner, looks to defend his belt here tonight at home. My partner Brian Stan, let's talk about Michael's journey because it has been a crazy one.
Well, look, he's a definition of persistence. He gets knocked down, he gets back up, and every time he gets back up, he's better. He works so hard. One of the hardest working mixed martial artists in history. He's put his whole life into this, and he's finally realized his dream of being UFC champion. It's going to take an awful lot to rip that belt away from him.
It's amazing it took 26 fights for his first title shot. If he wins later tonight, Brian, he will be #1 all time with 20 Octagon victories.
I'll tell you, he's only gotten better and better. Came in a very good kickboxer because that was his background as a youth. But as he's progressed in his career, he's had outstanding cardio, excellent wrestling, good grappling, and now, lately, we're starting to see the power as he sets in and sits down on his punches more.
Dan Henderson, his opponent, the H-bomb, we talk about it all the time because it is very real.
Absolutely. One of the most decorated American mixed martial artists of all time. He's held belts in every single organization he's fought for except for the UFC. And right there already, the count getting in his face. He did it all week long, putting that bravado, the attitude, trying to plant seeds of doubt into the head of Dan Henderson.
He's done it since they were opposing coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. Co-main event, we have the Phenom, Vitor Belfort against Gegard Mousasi. Ryan Mousasi gets a win tonight. It would be the biggest of his career, but Vitor Belfort, hand speed.
Now, Vitor Belfort, he's honored by the call-out. He loves the fact Mousasi wants to fight him. Careful what you wish for, because Vitor Belfort still has some of the fastest hands in the middleweight division. Vicious power, very excellent kicks at well his distance. He put together what he feels is the best training camp of his career for this fight. Gegard Mousasi, very well-rounded guy. His wrestling has gotten better and better. In his last few fights, we've really seen the dominance of his grappling. Will he use that and avoid the hand speed of Vitor Belfort and try and win this fight on the ground?
Both two of the most outstanding of all time. No animosity, a lot of mutual respect.
Absolutely, and that fight is really about focus. Who's going to execute better? Who's going to fight best in that moment tonight?
We've got the count, we've got Hendo, we've got the Phenom, we have Gegard Mousasi. Fans, we are here in Manchester, England, live on pay-per-view, and we are set for a great night of fights. And here's a look at the rest of tonight's pay-per-view card. And we start in the heavyweight division as three-time Polish Muay Thai champion Daniel Onlyunchuk, who has never been finished, puts his 3-fight win streak on the line against destructive 28-year-old Dutch star Stefan Struve, who's coming off a 16-second knockout of Bigfoot Silva. And in the light heavyweight division, the evolution rapidly continues for college football player turned professional mixed martial artist Ovince Preux, who looks to earn his 20th professional win when he fights one of England's all-time best, London's Jimi Manuwa, a fearsome finisher who has earned 13 of his 15 career wins by knockout. Tonight's Locker Room Cam is sponsored by IconicFaceoff.com, the UFC's social gaming partner. Real friends, real money, real time. And Twins.com. We take a look at 10-0 Bosnian Mirsad Bektic, who began training in multiple facets of martial arts when he came to the United States at age 10. His teammates and coaches at American Top Team call him the next big thing. His opponent is the Hawaiian Russell Doan, who took this fight on Monday, just 6 days ago, and has earned half of his career wins in the very first round. Our rules of the Octagon. 3 judges scored the bout. The bout duration, 3 5-minute rounds. Tonight's championship fight is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds. A 10-point must scoring system is in effect, with the round winner gaining 10 points, his opponent 9 or less. Judges will score the bouts based on effective striking and grappling, followed by aggression and octagon control in that order. Tonight's Jitacam is presented by Gears of War 4, available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. All right, we're set to get our pay-per-view started. It is going to be quite a night. Despite 2 opponent changes, Mirsad Bektic was determined to fight here in Manchester tonight. And when the octagon door shuts, he's going to go right after Hawaii's Russell Doan. With Mirsad Bektic clocking in at 25 years old, it's evident that the future of the featherweight division is in good hands with this rising star. But veteran Russell Doan knows that in the fight game, there's no time like the present. And he feels his time is now.
What makes me so dangerous is just my style, just the tools that I bring. I'm not just a threat for Russ, I'm a threat for everybody in the division.
I'm looking for a finish in the first round, whatever I can get. If I can knock him out or I can choke him out, I'll take it.
Hawaii's Russell Doan is a well-rounded competitor who can finish a fight anywhere it goes. With 6 knockout victories and 5 submission wins proving his point. And while he's hit some rocky road in recent bouts, if he can pin a loss on the perfect record of Mirsad Bektic, he will be right back on track.
I'm not looking to show the world anything. I'm looking to shock the world tonight.
A native of Bosnia who discovered the sport of mixed martial arts after moving to the United States, Mirsad Bektic has been ultra impressive thus far in the octagon, with his trio of victories over Chad Skelly, Paul Redmond, and Lucas Martins, making him one of the top prospects in all of MMA.
My intention tonight is to amaze the fans and show them that I am the best, the most ferocious featherweight in the division.
Brian, short notice for Russell Doan. Very short notice, and quite a voyage to come from Hawaii here to England.
You know, fortunately for Doan, he actually traveled from Hawaii, went to Portland for the UFC fights there about a week ago. Found out, was anxious to get back in the octagon anyways, and he's actually a very big bantamweight. So 145 really isn't a stretch for him. He may find that he feels better at this weight, but his last fight, in my opinion, he showed the sharpest striking we've seen in his career to date. This is a guy who continues to improve, and as that camp, Hawaii Elite, with him and Max Holloway, as it continues to progress, so do the skills of all of its members.
Yancy Madero's coming off a nice win as well. Russell Doan fighting for the 6th time in his UFC career. His previous fights were all at 135, professional since 2008. 6 wins by knockout, 5 wins by submission.
You know, speaking to him this week, he talked a lot about some of his previous fights, just overthinking things. Hey, I need to show this off, or I need to do better here. Wants to come in here tonight with Mirsad Bektic and just let it flow. Be a guy who's not going to be held down on his back. Be a guy who lets his hands go on the feet, despite the fact that Mirsad Bektic always has that threat of the takedown. He doesn't want to be hesitant tonight against a guy like Bektic just because he possesses a strong top game.
Doan started training in 2006 because he wanted to compete ever since he saw Rumina Sato do a flying armbar. The Hawaiian, Russell Doan. Mirsad Bektic, 10-0 in his professional career, 3-0 inside the octagon. Everyone at American Top Team, Brian, says that he is the next big thing.
He works extraordinarily hard. He's a high-character guy. His coaches have to constantly hold him back. He's the guy that will do too much in the gym. He's had a 497-day layoff. He has been chomping at the bit. Every time I call a featherweight fight here at the Octagon, when the fight is about to be over, he'll text me and say, Brian, I can smash these guys. That's how bad he's been waiting to get back in here and compete. Didn't care about the opponent switch, doesn't care who he fights, feels like he's ready for anybody.
It was Arnold Allen, then the Canadian Jeremy Kennedy, and now it is Russell Doan. Bektic has lived in his native Bosnia, Germany, Nebraska, and Florida. Really started to train in MMA when he came to the U.S.
Absolutely, and just an incredible story of his family leaving Bosnia to get to Germany, finally getting to America. You know, a background like that, it breeds a lot of character. He's a guy who said, you know, for this camp, he's gotten even better at being comfortable in uncomfortable environments and situations. So let's see if Russell Doan can get him in trouble. Let's see how Bektic responds and how his knee feels.
Our tale of the tape for this featherweight fight. The Bosnian Mirsad Bektic, 5 years younger than Hawaii's Russell Doan. Everything else is virtually identical. To officially get things started, the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from Manchester Arena in Manchester, England, for UFC 204, Bisping versus Henderson 2, presented by Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get Gears of War 4 Ultimate Edition and play now. This fight is 3 rounds in the UFC featherweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 14 wins, 6 losses. He stands 5 feet 7 inches tall, weighing in at 145 pounds. Fighting out of Honolulu, Hawaii, USA, Russell Doan. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter holding an undefeated professional record, 10 wins, no losses. He stands 5 feet 8 inches tall, weighing in at 144 pounds. Fighting out of Coconut Creek, Florida, USA, by way of Srebrenica, Bosnia, Mirsad Bektic. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Yves Levine.
Yves Levine, our referee, for our first fight of the night, live on pay-per-view. Carly and Christy are here. Mike Goldberg, Brian Stan. We are set. For Mirsad Bektic and Russell Doan. Here we go. Yellow trunks for Bektic, southpaw stance. Russell Doan in the black trunks. He'll switch back and forth, Brian. And he comes out swinging.
And that's exactly what he did against Pedro Munoz, who was really the sharpest and the fastest we'd seen him start. Slipped up in that fight, and Munoz, who could just catch you anywhere, caught him in a guillotine, but Doan wanted to test the knee.
Put it up.
Groin strike there, and Bektic wants to get started right away. Doan wants to test that lead knee of Bektic, see if he can take some leg kicks there.
Put your kicks up.
As he recovered from injury and had a long layoff.
Bektic, 6 of his 10 wins by knockout. Good combinations. Man, he's quick.
His boxing is so sharp, and his footwork, feet, hips, always underneath them to deliver power, get in and out of the pocket quickly. And there's the entry for the double leg. So smooth and powerful. And when he gets on top, man, he is aggressive,
to say the least.
He really showed that in his last fight against Lucas Martins, where that was his best performance date in the UFC. He had a ton of hype and momentum behind him, and then this massive layoff due to injury.
Started his MMA training, as I mentioned earlier, when he moved to the U.S. at age 10 in 2008.
Doan coming in on short notice. He's choosing to tie up Bektic here. Maybe save some energy, see if he could get a stand-up from the ref. Abandon that now. Now he's trying to roll through, get wrist control, get back to his feet. Well done from Russell Doan.
Hold the cage.
Keep an eye on the cardio of Doan as he's tossed back down by Bektic.
Right away, one thing sticks out. The size isn't an advantage. Doan, a massive bantamweight, looks really actually good at 145 pounds. Not being overpowered here by Bektic.
Took the fight on Monday. Brian said traveled from Portland. Still a long way. That said, it's the middle of the night here, Brian, so there isn't that big time change for the North American fighters.
Absolutely. They stayed on U.S. time. They've all been going to the gym at 3 and 4 in the morning to train.
And really here, Bektik's he's got to think strategy. Does he want to stay tied up? He's taking some deep breaths here. He's looking for the suplex. He had success in the feet when he separated. I wonder why he wasn't let go here and maybe go back to his boxing.
Trying to drag Doan back down to the mat. Good takedown defense by Russell Doan.
And really excellent balance.
And not, as I say that, he's down, but let's see for how long, Brian.
Costs you a lot of energy coming back up. That taxes the legs. Carrying Bektik's weight.
Bektik trained karate, boxing, and wrestling in Nebraska. Joined American Top Team in 2011. That's where he turned professional. Again, trying to drag Doan into his world.
Now one hook in. Both hooks in, but his back is against the fence. Hard to finish a rear naked choke here. You see Doan trying to relax, catch his breath. He's going to try and work and fight for wrist control and then spin inside the guard.
A lot of time on the clock. Doan trying to survive here. Don't forget, Gears of War 4 available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition.
Bektik cranking on the neck, trying to stretch him out and get the form underneath. Well defended by Doan, who now continues to carry Bektik's weight. This is grueling for Russell Doan.
Which, Brian, may very well be the reason why Bektik chose to make it this style of fight, even though he was having success on the feet.
Absolutely, and after a near 500-day layoff too, just trying to get his rhythm, his feel back for that octagon. It's almost like making your debut all over again when you've had that long a layoff. Oh, he may have this now. Now he's stretched out under the chin.
It is all over. Mirsad Bektik by submission. His 5th career first-round finish. What was the time on that?
Very impressive. After a layoff like that, came out, dictated the action on the feet, took him down, was patient, waited for the right opportunity. When he got both hooks in, was able to stretch Doan out and get the finish.
Our fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
Here you see it. Drags him down to the mat. From here, starts working, getting the hooks in. One hook, second hook. Initially couldn't finish the rear naked choke. He just couldn't stretch Doan out enough to get the form underneath the chin. Able to do so here. Really pulled back, and there you can see the form slides down beneath the chin, and Doan's got no choice.
Submission victory turned in by Mirsad Bektik. Time for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30 period. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Yves Leving's called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 22 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a rear naked choke, Mirsad Bektik.
Second career win by submission, both by rear naked choke. He's fired up. He'll visit with Brian.
All right, folks, I'm here with your winner, Mirsad Bektik. Mirsad, 497 days you had to wait for your return to the octagon.
Yes, sir. I wasn't waiting, though. I was getting ready for Kyle Jury last time, right after my fight against Lucas Martins in Vegas. I had no layoff. I mean, people that don't work get laid off. I've been working. I work every day. Nobody works like me. And, that's 4 wins in UFC, 2 decisions. I beat up a great wrestler. I beat up a grappler. I beat up a stand-up guy. And I just submitted a guy, so, hey, that sounds like I can do it all. I can beat anybody.
Now, every time I call a featherweight fight, you text me when I'm octagon side live on TV. Always wanting to fight whoever's fight I'm calling. Is there a name you have in mind? Is there someone in the top 15 you'd like next?
Well, I was ranked number 14, and while I was out, I felt like the featherweight division was kind of like lackluster, so I believe everybody, that's ahead of me better step their game up, because I get better. I got better this whole week. I was studying. I just got better today. I know what I need to work on. So everybody better watch out because I'm coming. I mean, you can't mess with it. It's fate. It's predestined. I'm gonna be the champion. Dana, I want some chicken, man. I'm hungry. My mom's birthday just passed. She gotta eat, man.
Well, you look better and better every time in the octagon. It's so great to have you back. Ladies and gentlemen, Mirsad Bektic.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody that helped me during recovery. Thank my coaches, my family, my whole team, American Top Team, my manager. Thank you all. In England, it's been a pleasure and a privilege. Come on, stand up. Let's go.
Mirsad Bektic, all kinds of fired up and justifiably so, as he earns the victory by first round submission. Hey, there's the real deal. Ross Pearson, the other British Ultimate Fighter. Of course, the first ever, Michael the Count Bisping. Tonight's UFC 204 is presented in high definition by Kevin Hart. What now? The comedy event that made history. In theaters everywhere this Friday. Tickets on sale now. Tonight's Locker Room Cam is sponsored by IconicFaceoff.com, the UFC's social gaming partner. Real friends, real money, real time, and Twins.com. There is the tallest man in UFC history, the skyscraper, Stefan Struve. He is the only member of the heavyweight top 15 under 30 years old. He will take on Polish powerhouse Daniel Omelianchuk, a rugged competitor who has never stopped. A remarkable feat amongst heavyweights to not be stopped yet. He's a contender, got a 3-fight win streak, and he wants to take out Stefan Struve later tonight. UFC 204, Bisping versus Henderson 2, is being brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now. By Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30 period. And by Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now.
Welcome to the Empire State. Stand up. I'm a BK brother. His own Madison Square catch me at the fight.
Conor McGregor!
Sensational. From New York City, right, Cam?
You're damn right. Big shot, Tyron Woodley! Wow! What a night, ladies and gentlemen! New York City!
It cannot come soon enough. November 12th, inside the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. Brian, what a main card.
It's insane. This is ridiculous. When your first fight of the night, Miesha Tate taking on Raquel Pennington, Gastelum Cerrone, not even to think about the 3 title fights. Tyron Woodley versus Stephen Thompson stylistically is one of the most intriguing technical fights that I've ever had the chance to analyze. And then obviously this main event, Conor McGregor going for 2 belts. The animosity is incredible between those two.
And the prelims are just as outstanding. The former champion from New Jersey, Frankie the Answer Edgar, in the featured bout against Jeremy Stephens.
Incredible. Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Michael Johnson. Both of those guys want to be at the top. Title shot could be in the weights for the winner of that fight. Rashad Evans taking on Tim Kennedy, we have not seen in a long time. Big fight in the middleweight division, and it's always exciting. Jeremy Stephens, Frankie Edgar, man, what a matchup.
Cannot wait. That's in November. Tonight, it's UFC 204, Bisping versus Henderson 2, sponsored by Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now. Poland's Daniel Omelianchuk has been waiting patiently for the fight that can take his career to the next level. Well, that time has come as he battles Stefan Struve.
The heavyweight scene in Europe has always been a strong one when it comes to mixed martial arts.
And two of its top graduates to the UFC, the Netherlands' Stefan Struve and Poland's Daniel Omielanczak, will represent their nations tonight in the octagon.
This is going to be a don't blink fight. I'm going to finish this guy fast, and it's going to be ugly for him.
No jest to duża szansa, tak, bo jest bardzo doświadczonym zawodnikiem Stefan. Do tego, gdy ja zaczynałem MMA, to on już walczył w UFC, więc jest to duże wyzwanie i duża szansa.
Following a slow start to his UFC career, Daniel Omielanczak has found his rhythm in the octagon, and the result has been 3 consecutive defeats of Chris De La Rocha, Jarvis Daniel, and Oleksiy Oleinik that have put him in the biggest fight of his career against Stefan Struve.
No, na pewno 3 zwycięstwa z rzędu dały mi taką większą pewność siebie, więc w tą walką też nic nie mam do stracenia, mogę tylko zyskać.
Popular heavyweight Stefan Struve has been an inspiring figure to all fight fans over the last few years as he battled back from medical issues to reclaim his place among the elite. But now, the skyscraper wants to make a title run. And for starters, he has to dispatch Daniel Omielanczak tonight.
I'm here to finish this fight. He's never been finished. That will change tonight.
Brian, that really is quite a feat for a heavyweight mixed martial artist who has a ton of fights, 19 victories, 7 other fights, and never been stopped.
It's exceptional. And, you know, he showed his toughness and his grit in his last fight against Oleksiy Oleinik. I mean, that was a back-and-forth battle. Omielanczak is known as a striker, but in that fight, he showed how well-rounded he was, showed his wrestling, showed his grappling, his ability to escape from tough positions, and his cardio for a big man in a grinding fight like that is exactly what he needed to propel him. He told me this week, he said, you know what? Because I've had this many fights, and just now he feels like he's really coming into his own and establishing fight IQ and strategy in mixed martial arts.
3-time Polish Muay Thai champion. As we mentioned, he has won 3 straight, 15 of his last 17. 34 years old, weighed in much less than Struve, who weighed in at 265, but there is power, there is knockout ability from both men.
And he's an excellent striker, and one of the things he has not shown in the octagon that you see when you watch his earlier fights are his array of high kicks. He's actually very flexible for a guy his size and a heavyweight. Look for him to use some of those kicks, maybe to attack the body of Stefan Struve, break down the legs, but where Struve may get a little overconfident, not thinking the shorter man could reach his head, Omielanczak will surprise you.
Well, it was here, UFC 70, April 2007, when Gabriel Gonzaga won by head kick against Mirko Krokop. Let's see if we have a head kick in store in this heavyweight battle. Daniel Omielanczak. The skyscraper, Stefan Struve. This will be the 4th fight inside the octagon as a member of the Black Zillions, and he has just connected so well with Henry Hooft, and you know, he's been with Bob Schreiber forever, but he's gotten different things in South Florida, especially wrestling.
Absolutely, the sparring, the level of competition. He spent over 4 months there in preparation for this fight. You know, speaking to him this week, he said, look, if I do my thing, this guy doesn't even have a chance. You know, Struve has unbelievable reach. I mean, an amazing gift to have in any fight, and he's got it for days, but we've seen at times where he doesn't leverage it, allows guys to get inside. He said this fight, he's finally going to maximize it, use it, and not allow Omielanczak to really get anything going offensively.
Back in 2012 in Nottingham, England, he stopped the heavyweight champion, Stipe Miocic. He's been around so long, Brian. Tonight, his 18th entrance into the octagon, and he is only 28 years old. The skyscraper, Stefan Struve. Our tail of the tape for this heavyweight fight. 28-year-old Stefan Struve against 34-year-old Daniel Omelianchuk. He is almost a foot taller than his opponent. As I mentioned, he weighed in at 265, and look at the reach. 10.5-inch advantage for Struve. For the official introductions, here's the veteran voice, Bitor Belfort.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 239 pounds. Fighting out of Warsaw, Poland, Daniel Omelianchuk. And now, introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a Muay Thai kickboxer holding a professional record, 31 wins, 8 losses. He stands 6 feet 11 and 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 265 pounds. Fighting out of Beverwijk, the Netherlands, Stefan Skyscraper Struve. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Kevin Sataki.
Kevin Sataki, our referee for this heavyweight matchup here at UFC 204. Carly and Christy here.
Stefan, over there, please.
Tonight, Stefan Struve.
First round, are you ready?
Daniel Omelianchuk. Here we go. Blue trunks for the Skyscraper Southpaw. Omelianchuk in the black trunks.
Omelianchuk got the call for this fight about 4 weeks ago, but they brought in the 3 tallest heavyweights in Poland to train for this, one of them being just a little bit shorter than Struve.
He's pushing forward early.
Omelianchuk told me he really feels speed is going to be his biggest advantage in this fight.
The best thing he can do to counter the reach is get inside.
Fakes, feints, level changes, chop those big legs down as well. Omelianchuk.
I mean, this is crazy. He's almost a foot taller. And we know that Struve is the tallest fighter in UFC history. But Omelianchuk just 6 foot.
And Struve cut 15 pounds for this fight. He's weighing about 280 pounds right now. Look at the size of him.
I remember earlier in his career, Brian, that was a big thing to get stronger, to work himself towards 265 on a huge frame.
He's a big old boy now, and he's landed several nice front kicks right to the gut of Omelianchuk.
Omelianchuk with a big left hand.
Nice work, got inside behind his jab and came right around the defense of Stefan Struve.
We know how tough Struve has been, that nasty cut on the forehead at UFC 99 in Stoynik. He'd rather not have to go through that tonight. That was a good body kick.
And he may have stunned Omelianchuk a moment ago. He threw a nice right knee to the body. As he stepped down with the right leg, he pushed out the right straight hand as well and landed flush. Stunned Omelianchuk for a moment.
Poland's Omelianchuk never been stopped. This is his 27th professional fight.
And Struve has got to be careful. When he's throwing his right kicks and his right knees, he is not retracting that leg quickly. He lands a big head kick, though. But as that leg is going back and he's getting in his stance, Omelianchuk is following him and landing some nice counter strikes.
We have definitely seen some head kick finishes in this building. Takedown. And they're back up.
Nice work there by Omelianchuk.
Watch for the knees.
Good defense so far from Struve. Is going to use this for a judo trip. Gets Omelianchuk down. He's going to look great for mount. Ends up in half guard. Well done there by Struve.
And Struve has excellent submission skills. 16 of his wins have come by submission.
And it's so hard when you grapple with guys this long. They can distribute their weight so evenly, keeping you flat. Makes it very hard to work underneath them, digging for underhooks, shrimping to get your guard back. And look at him as he stretches Omelianchuk out here.
time on the clock here in round one.
Trying to sink his head behind the left tricep of Omalanchuk. Nice job on Omalanchuk to get his arm back, and now Struve looking to push his knee through, slice through to the mount.
Saying it's open. See if he can do so. Almost out, Brian. Yep. And now he's got a hook in. Lost it for a moment. Back back.
Excellent job floating here, maintaining top position. Omalanchuk in a really bad spot with a minute left in the round.
5 of his 16 submission wins have been by rear naked choke. Final minute of the round.
And back to the mount. Struve just on a whole other level on the ground right now.
Again, looking to lock it in and finish this fight.
Struve expending very little energy here. On the opposite side, Omalanchuk using a lot as he's going from belly down, rolling back to his back, carrying that weight the whole time.
30 seconds. Can Omalanchuk survive round one?
And Struve right in his corner, too. And you almost have no choice but to listen to his coach. I mean, he just self-commands. That's violent. That accent is kind of scary.
It is indeed. There's about, 10 different languages in this building with all our fighters all over. 10 seconds. So I don't know how well versed he is in everything. As the Dutch kickboxer doing a nice job on the ground in round one.
Solid first round for Struve.
Tonight's Corner Cam brought to you by Gears of War 4. Available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition.
You have to balance it. Don't strangle with him. Bounce it. Yeah. You're doing it perfectly, but don't do it lateral movement. Don't do lateral movement. He's going to stop you with front kicks. You go to the left, to the right.
Dat je meer stootjes maakt, hoor je me? Kin op je borst, je mag een risicootje nemen
More punching, keep striking, and keep the distance, Stefan.
Okay, come on.
Watch his right hand, and keep your head down. Okay, keep your hands high.
UFC 204, Bisping versus Henderson 2, sponsored by Gears of War 4. Available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10.
You ready?
Get the Ultimate Edition.
Let's fight.
And play now. Round 2. Almost 4 in the morning, local time.
It is very
in Manchester. That's what I was going to lead to, Brian. It's not the wet, damp weather that you usually get over here.
Surprised to see Omalanchuk looking for the takedown here. Yeah, he was mounted easy. The transitions came easy for Struve. Surprised to see Omalanchuk take this route instead of more lateral movement and getting inside in the pocket like his corner was asking him to do.
He brought a 12-fight win streak into the Jared Rosholt fight back in 2014 in Abu Dhabi. Won 3 straight. As he's fighting Struve here in round 2.
Struve looking for the tie clinch. He's going to unleash some knees here to the body. Big knee.
And he doesn't have to bring him up very high when he's that big. They can be quick, and they can be violent.
The same position Omalanchuk got taken down in round 1. He stays in the clinch, and he's taken down again and in a very bad spot with Stefan Struve.
We used to see those vicious knees from 6'9" Semi Schilt. Now he's trying to lock it down. Once again, Struve looking to finish by submission.
Looking for the Darce choke here. Omalanchuk's going to try and walk the fence, but Struve is just so
long.
It's
all over! Stefan Struve finishes. Daniel Omalanchuk, the first man to finish the Polish fighter.
Excellent execution for Stefan Struve.
Fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
Omalanchuk hanging out in the clinch. It's the same judo trip that Stefan Struve used in round one. Steps right over to the mount. Ovince throws that left arm under, and now watching this scramble, Struve with those long arms able to go for a Darce choke here. Does an excellent job holding on to it and just turning over as Ovince attempts there to walk the fence. Excellent execution, good technique for Stefan Struve. Dominant win.
17th career win by submission, 32nd career win for the 28-year-old.
Let's go, Stefan. Daniel!
Time for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30, period. Once again, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Kevin Satake has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute, 41 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by submission due to a Darce choke, Stefan Skyscraper Struve.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Stefan Struve. Stefan, you told me this week, if you do what you do, this guy has no chance.
I didn't do what I do in the beginning of the fight. During the warm-up, I felt my arms and legs fill up with lactic acid, so I was just trying to find my rhythm, get it, get some blood flow. But he's tough, he's strong. He was never finished until now. But yeah, didn't feel great, but got it done.
Was the plan to get him down on the ground? Because there was an obvious advantage for you there. I know coming in you said you wanted to use your reach, but you were very dominant on the floor tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't fast enough with my footwork, so I just decided to take him down, and he was strong. He just rolled over. But I smelled the submission, and I love that Darce, the rolling Darce. It's one of my faves, so it's good to get him finished.
All right, you've been around for a while. You fought a lot of the best heavyweight division. Any idea who you'd like next?
Hey, man, give me a top 5 guy. This may not have been my best fight. I do have a knockout win over the heavyweight champ, though, so let's get me up there. Let me work my way back. Hey, UK, it's always good to be here. I got a good track record here. You guys are always amazing. Thank you.
Well, you are extremely humble in a dominant victory. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner, Stefan Struve.
The Skyscraper by submission, and he is amongst the all-time leaders in the heavyweight division for submission finishes. Tonight, his 5th. Frank Mir, the leader all-time with 8. The unauthorized reproduction or distribution, Damian Maia in attendance tonight. That man is on a roll, and he wants a shot at the title, the Brazilian here in the UK. The unauthorized reproduction or distribution of this copyrighted work is illegal and punishable under law. Tonight's Locker Room Cam, sponsored by IconicFaceoff.com, the UFC's social gaming partner, real friends, real money, real time, and Twins.com. Fighting John Jones on short notice is one thing. Doing it with a broken arm and going 25 minutes is even tougher. Ovince St. Preux learned a valuable lesson in that fight. But tonight he faces the Brit, a ferocious finisher, a top contender in his home country of England. Jimi Manuwa gets his shot to shine here in Manchester. So later it's the middleweight belt on the line. And next month, when the Octagon finally arrives at Madison Square Garden, it's Eddie Alvarez and Conor McGregor, who made the promise to make UFC history long, long ago.
Before I came to the UFC, I was a two-weight world champion. So you best believe when I eliminate Jose Aldo and take that belt, I will go up and challenge for that 155-pound belt as well.
Oh! McGregor is the new featherweight champion of the world!
Here we go, folks. UFC Lightweight Championship.
Oh! He's huge right hand to Alvarez! Herb can step in! That is it! Eddie Alvarez is the UFC Lightweight Champion! Do you believe it?
We have our main event for UFC 205. Conor McGregor will try to become a simultaneous two-division champion when he challenges the UFC lightweight belt holder, the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez.
Eddie Alvarez is an incredibly dangerous fighter. He is a blood and guts warrior. This is a guy who has had some ridiculous battles.
Eddie has all the skills, all the ability to go out there and not only beat Conor McGregor, but embarrass Conor McGregor. Eddie's bigger, Eddie's as fast, and Eddie's a better wrestler than Conor McGregor.
Conor McGregor is coming off the most important victory of his UFC career. The Nate Diaz fight showed he can beat one of the best 155-pound fighters in the world.
You're here because you're the easiest dude in this division. That's why you're here. And he's never, ever fought anyone in the UFC like me.
Shut your mouth. Just another broke bum trying to sell some shit. You're blessed that I chose to whoop your ass next. And Mystic Mac predicts I'm gonna KO you inside 1 round. I'm the featherweight world champion. Now in November, I'm gonna be the lightweight world champion. I'm gonna wrap one on one shoulder, I'm gonna wrap the other on the other shoulder, and you're gonna need a army to come take them belts off me.
I can guarantee, despite those comments, both of these men respect one another and respect their skills. The wrestling, the grit, the heart of Eddie Alvarez against the skill and the technique of Conor McGregor. You will not want to miss that fight.
3 titles on the line Saturday, November 12th from Madison Square Garden in New York City. Alvarez, McGregor, Woodley Thompson, and the Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Karolina Kowalkiewicz fight, also amazing. Tonight's Jitta Camp, presented by Gears of War 4, available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. The action continues, and what a battle we have for you at 205. In a year of big fights in the light heavyweight division, one of the most highly anticipated showdowns is about to take place here in Manchester between Jimi Manuwa and Ovince St. Preux.
In the light heavyweight top 15, there are few fighters more dynamic than Jimi Manuwa and Ovince St. Preux. And as both jockey for position in the 205-pound title picture, it was inevitable that tonight's meeting in the octagon was eventually going to happen.
If I fight the perfect fight, something scary gonna happen, then I'll definitely be walking away with a bonus.
I'm aggressive, I throw bombs, and there's no messing around with me. I'll come straight to fight.
One of the most fearsome finishers to emerge from the United Kingdom. London's Jimi Manuwa has only heard the judges will render their decision one time in his career. And tonight, he once again wants to make sure they're not needed as he looks to finish up fellow contender Ovince St. Preux.
I've put on more size, I've got more power, more stamina, and I'm just looking to put on a show as usual.
Once a raw talent who was forced to learn on the job at the highest level of mixed martial arts, Ovince St. Preux has developed into a top contender whose wins over Nikita Krylov, Mauricio Shogun Rua, and Patrick Cummins show him to be getting better with each passing fight.
He's not gonna know what to expect, and half the time I don't know what to expect. So I just tell everybody, you know, when you watch me fight, make sure you don't blink.
He has been the UK's best at 205 for a very long time. Born in Sacramento, moved to Nigeria at age 3, moved to London at age 10. Jimi Poster Boy Manuwa.
Strong, very physical, got out of his comfort zone, spent the bulk of his training camp in Sweden, training at All-Stars camp with Alexander Gustafsson, working with a lot of great sparring partners, a lot of guys trying to take him down, working on his own wrestling, but felt like he got the perfect look with Alexander Gustafsson to prepare him for the length, the reach, and the unorthodox striking attack of Ovince St. Preux.
At UFC 191, Manuwa fought Rumble. That was his first fight in the U.S. This tonight is his 5th fight inside the octagon in the UK. And you talk about Gustafsson, that is one of only 2 losses that he has suffered in his entire career.
saw holes in his own game, learned from that fight, and then went to train directly with the man. You know, where he was training in England, he was getting great strength conditioning and outstanding striking, but knew that he needed to evolve the other aspects of his game, as now he takes on the elite level of the light heavyweight division. A win over Ovince St. Preux would undoubtedly be the biggest of his UFC tenure.
13 of 15 wins by knockout. Representing London, England, Jimi Manuwa. First fight in over a year, was scheduled to face Nikita Krylov in London in February, but had to pull out of the fight due to injury. He's set to go tonight. OSP, Ovince St. Preux, 11th fight in his UFC career. Stepped in for Daniel Cormier at UFC 197 to face John Jones for the interim light heavyweight title. That experience is going to propel him to a whole nother level.
And that's exactly what he said this week. You know, he really believes in himself and says everything came together in this training camp. You know, a lot of people criticize Ovince St. Preux, saying he needs to leave Knoxville, needs to go to a bigger name camp. You know, he was very adamant telling me, look, I've got everything I need. I'm still learning new things. I'm still evolving as a fighter. And felt like his experience against John Jones and the success after watching back that fight, he was really pleased with some of the things he was able to do despite the injury. He walks in this octagon, you've seen the pre-fight interviews, he really feels like there's not much Jimi Manuwa can offer him.
St. Preux suffered a broken arm, as we mentioned earlier in that fight, went the full five-minute rounds, and he is very loyal to his gym in Knoxville, Tennessee. He has spent 8 years with his head coach, that man Eric Turner. They started training in Turner's garage.
And now they've moved into a giant facility. And I've trained with Ovince St. Preux for several of his training camps. Very difficult guy to deal with on the feet. He's so long, he's powerful, but his speed and quickness catches you off guard. Just when you think he's getting lazy, he throws some nice change-ups, especially with his straight left hand. He'll look like he's dangling the arms, and then boom, it hits you in the face right before you know it. Difficult guy to take down, and he's got a lot of really unique submissions. Because of his strength, because of his long limbs, he will attack submissions and not worry about giving up position.
The former Tennessee Volunteer, St. Preux, our tail of the tape for this light heavyweight fight. London, England's Jimi Manuwa, 3 years the elder of Knoxville, Tennessee's Ovince St. Preux, who is a bit taller, but the reach is nearly identical. And once again, let's check in with Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a striker holding a professional record, 15 wins, 2 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of London, England, presenting the number 8 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Jimi Poster Boy Manuwa. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 19 wins, 8 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 1/2 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Knoxville, Tennessee, USA, presenting the number 5 ranked light heavyweight contender in the world, Ovince St. Preux. And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Leon Roberts.
Leon Roberts, our referee for this light heavyweight matchup.
Okay, gentlemen, first round. You ready to fight? You ready to fight?
Manuwa.
Bring it on.
Here we go. Red trunks for Ovince St. Preux, the southpaw. Black trunks for the Brit, Jimi Manuwa. At least he represents England proudly since he moved to London at age 10.
Nice body kick already landed by St. Preux. There's a nice inside leg kick from Manuwa, who really would love for this fight to take place in the pocket as much as possible.
Both men very strong, and they work on that strength and conditioning. And in this camp for Manuwa, it was a big point of emphasis.
Absolutely. You know, he wants to have one-punch knockout power, land and finish fights immediately. Surprised to see him engage in the clinch at the end of the combination. Now he's got his back on the fence because of it.
St. Preux, a very quiet, humble, but dangerous fighter.
And he's awkward. You know, when you train with him, when you're wrestling, when you're fighting with him, he does things a little differently. Catches you by surprise. It's not the exact way you're used to feeling it, so it takes you a little while. I don't care where you train. It takes you a little while to get used to his style, the way he moves.
Heavy knees both ways. As they battle in the clinch early, Manuwa on the break. The highlight thus far of Ovince St. Preux's career, the win over Shogun back in Brazil in 2014. Topps UFC Knockout 16 mobile trading card app, now available for iOS and Android devices. Download for free now.
Jimi Manuwa is doing a very nice job slipping the first punch of Ovince St. Preux. Instead of countering, though, choosing and looking for these body locks.
Shrug and go, that's it!
He said he felt good this entire camp inside the clinch. And lands a nice knee to the body there.
And another. Manuwa looking for another win here in Manchester.
He's got to be careful ducking his head down. St. Preux's left forearm is underneath the chin. Nice escape there from Manuwa, but now OSP looking for the takedown.
Persistent. Just past the midway point of round number 1.
And again, it was Manuwa who initiated the wrestling here. Now ends up on all fours. One hook in for OSP.
One hook in for St. Preux. Looking for his 20th career win.
That's it! Feel that elbow down! Feel that elbow down and drag!
Said he never thought he would become a professional fighter. Such a great athlete, though. Division I linebacker at Tennessee.
And a real natural. You know, I trained with him at times in his career where he was very raw, and then at times in his career where he has much further progressed, and he was a handful from the start. Doing a nice job here, putting pressure on the head of Manuwa. Loses top position, but Manuwa used a lot of energy, and now he's back down, looking for a guillotine.
Looking for it. Can he lock it in?
He's got to scoot to his left hip.
One arm in with the guillotine. A lot of time for Jimi Manuwa.
Manuwa's going to need to adjust, get to his left hip, and not pull. It's more of a squish. Easily escaped by OSP, who's going to look to pass here.
And now he takes the back of Jimi Manuwa.
Smooth transitions here for Ovince St. Preux, and you know, some questionable decisions by Jimi Manuwa so far in this fight. Initiating takedowns, dropping back for guillotines. Not really the game of Jimi Manuwa.
Can St. Preux lock it in?
St. Preux's got the right wrist control to Jimi Manuwa right now. He's just looking for openings to drop some good left hands. And a lot of times what guys will do is they try to get you to focus on the ground strikes, and then right when you're focused on blocking, and maybe then they'll sneak something in. But he's got to pull Manuwa away from the fence if he's going to sneak that right hook
in. 20 seconds here in round 1. Another transition by both men, and they're up. Big clinch. Both score. Knee by St. Preux. The punch by Manuwa. Again, the knee in the clinch. Tonight's Corner Cam brought to you by Gears of War 4. Available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition.
Sit back. Take your arms out. Anything hurt? You good, right? Pull the trigger on the sticks. Don't throw everything in the kitchen sink at him, right? Touch, think one for one. If he keeps pressing, you take him down. You got it? He's just gonna keep walking through you. You give me a drop, kick, right? Like a drop chat. When you're on top, you're doing a great job. If you get your far side wrist, go knees to the body, right? Big, hard knees to the body. He's just trying to hang out there. Yeah. Deep breaths. Feet on the ice. Got it? Everything makes sense? Everything makes sense? Mm-hmm. Get your far side wrist. Your breakdown's looking great. You slide down the Oklahoma, go knees to the body, break him down from there. Doing great, Vince.
Great bond. Great confidence in each other.
Let's go.
OSP, as I mentioned earlier, is loyal to Eric Turner, loyal to his gym in Tennessee.
Thank you.
Which just got way bigger. And it was cool on Countdown to see them doing all the work inside.
Absolutely.
Bring it up.
When you could see Turner speaking in code to OSP, that's what you get when you train with one guy for so long. He can holler out all those numbers, which mean something to OSP, but they mean nothing to Jimi Manuwa. And a beautiful front kick there from Ovince St. Preux.
Watch your kicks.
St. Preux can really fire the kicks quickly, and he changes gears very well.
Yeah, he throws some great changes, but he's keeping his hands low in range there. This is what Manuwa needs to be doing, not engaging in body locks. Good sprawl for Manuwa, now looking again for the front headlock. He's got to be careful. OSP could try to lift the head and then lift up underneath the legs as well.
And they break. Oh, with the top of the right hand.
Big left hook landed there by Manuwa.
Manuwa scoring, just missed there. And you talked about the hand position of St. Preux.
Manuwa showing off the power now. Everything he's throwing with bad intentions.
And he is confident in that power, and justifiably so. Lead elbow. 13 of 15 wins, as I mentioned earlier, by knockout.
The St. Preux better be careful. He came into this fight very confident, but if he continues to allow Manuwa to walk him down, one of these shots may put his lights out.
Head kick. In the building where Gonzaga Crocop in Lyoto Machida won by head kick against Mark Munoz. Fourth time in Manchester. First time since July of 2013. And these guys are standing in the middle of the octagon, slugging it out.
St. Preux trying to keep a little bit more range here, fight a little longer. It's another leg kick as he consistently changes stances.
A lot of explosion from Manuwa as well. Oh, nicely done, flying knee.
Manuwa has found his rhythm, his range, and his timing right now. Now would be a really good time for Ovince St. Preux to level change and try and take this man down.
The body shots really taking a lot out of OSP.
You know, it could be the body shots regardless. He's walking and stepping on his heels. Oh, he's hurt!
Again, Manuwa.
That's it.
Finish. Here is over. Jimi Manuwa by knockout. Just as advertised. Fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
And he sensed that OSP was fading a little bit. Went to the body. That hurt OSP. Boom. Beautiful counter right hand. Rocks him. And then Manuwa goes in for the kill and finishes him. Outstanding performance and adjustment by Jimi Manuwa, who completely changed his strategy after the first round. Body. Ovince St. Preux's hurt. Follows back the jab with the overhand right. Connects clean. Rocks him and then finishes him. Excellent, excellent work from Jimi Manuwa. Look at the patience as he goes into this finish.
Definitive knockout victory for London, England's poster boy, Jimi Manuwa. Time now for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30 period. Once again, we check in with Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Leon Roberts has called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 38 seconds of round number 2, declaring the winner by knockout, Jimi Poster Boy Manuwa.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Jimi Manuwa. Jimi, round 1, you came out looking to wrestle. You forced him to clinch, you forced him to wrestle a little bit. That's not really your game, but then in round 2, you sensed him fading, and you came with your bread and butter.
Well, at the end of the day, no one likes pain, so I bring it in. He presented the takedowns and the wrestling, and that kept falling into me, so I went for it, but, you know, it's what it is. It's MMA at the end of the day, so, you know, we fight.
Did you sense him starting to fade a little bit? Did you sense him starting to slow down? Is that why you attacked the body on the finish?
No, I kept seeing the body shot, so I went for it. And that, you know. And, you know, I practiced a lot of stand-up and boxing, head movement and stuff. It all came together tonight.
Take a look here. Take a look here at the big screen. The brutal right hand. And here you were very patient, it seemed.
Yeah, coaches said, if you rock him, don't rush in, because that's when he swings and everything. So I took my time and everything and picked my shots. Big body shot there, look at that, lovely.
Well, this is by far the biggest win in your UFC career. Is there anybody you'd like to fight next?
Not really. Not really. It is what it is. It's up to Dana and Joe Silva and that lot. Give me my next opponent. I'm ready to go again.
Well, beautiful performance, Jimi. You blew the roof off this place. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimi Manuwa.
What's up, Manchester? Top five.
Jimi Manuwa by knockout. Tonight's Shitacam is presented by Gears of War 4, available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. UFC fans, in just 5 weeks, the Octagon will be in New York City. UFC 205 goes down November 12th, and the stars have aligned for a monumental event from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden.
card we've ever done. 3 title fights.
In the tradition of the great championship bout here at Madison Square Garden.
It's so surreal to be fighting at the very first show at Madison Square Garden.
MSG is where all the top performers perform at.
On the Big Apple, here at Madison Square Garden.
This is our time, no turning back. We could live like legends.
Finishes the round by pulling it out from nowhere.
We could live like legends.
The New York Racers of the Stanley Cup champion.
doesn't get your heart rate flying, I don't know what will. This is historic for anybody who's been involved in the UFC and mixed martial arts. This event is monumental for all of us.
And Madison Square Garden truly is a special place. You can feel the aura when you walk in that building, and we will do so Saturday, November 12th. 3 title fights only on pay-per-view. The headliner for the lightweight belt, Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor. Cannot wait. All right, we've got a couple of middleweight matchups still to come here in Manchester, featuring 4 outstanding fighters. Number 5, Vitor Belfort. Number 6, Anderson Silva. Vitor's opponent tonight, Gegard Mousasi.
And Mousasi has wanted a shot at Vitor Belfort for a long time. Belfort, a perennial contender. Mousasi believes a dominant win here can finally get him into the title picture at middleweight.
Robert Whittaker, Derek Brunson, gonna match up in Melbourne. It is going to be a great fight here with the Phenom taking on Gegard Mousasi. Tonight, former Strikeforce light heavyweight champion Gegard Mousasi looks to earn truly the biggest win of his professional career as he faces Vitor Belfort, who has been fighting the best in the world inside the octagon for nearly 2 decades.
I don't take easy fights. I always got fights that challenge me and bring out the best out of me, you know? And that's what it's about, being Vitor Belfort.
Oh, there it is! Oh, my God! Belfort in round 1 by knockout!
He is the real deal. Mousasi has arrived.
And he's up.
Oh, nailed it. Oh, that's it. That's it.
Then it's all over.
If I fight smart, there's little chance that they can defeat me.
Vitor Belfort versus Gegard Mousasi is an important fight for the UFC's middleweight division. Gegard is a very well-rounded and intelligent mixed martial arts fighter. He's one of the craftiest guys in the sport, and he really doesn't have any holes in his game.
Oh, wow, we get a submission victory for Gegard Mousasi.
I'm in my prime now. I'm 100% able to beat all of these guys. Everyone is excited that I'm fighting Vitor. I know I'm gonna have a good performance and dominate him. He has 0 chance.
This may be coming to an end. Gegard Mousasi is a finishing machine.
Vitor Belfort is a former title challenger. He's a former light heavyweight champion, and he is one of the true veterans and legends in the sport of MMA. He just has had some amazing victories in his career.
Oh, big shot again! Vitor swinging away, trying to finish this fight. That's it! It's all over!
This sport is not about what's next. It's about right now. You gotta win. That's all I'm thinking. I'm winning. Mousasi is a tough opponent. Was one of the best in the division, but I see myself winning, that's for sure. I'm very confident in this fight.
I like Vitor, but he's in my way, and we have to dispose him.
Gegard Mousasi knows he has an advantage if he can get this fight to the ground, but also that he's going to have to go through the buzzsaw that is the hands of Vitor Belfort. Trained very hard, trained mostly with heavyweights in preparation for this fight. You know, when you look at his fights, you can see that. You know, he is a very vicious grappler. He's got a brutal style. The way he transitions position to position, you can see it's painful for the person he's grappling with. Has looked fantastic against Thiago Santos, looked very good and dominant against Talis Leites. But this has been a guy in Vitor Belfort. This has been the elusive matchup for him that he hasn't been able to get. He's asked the UFC for this. He's wanted it. Now's his opportunity.
Lives in a very quiet town in the Netherlands, Leiden, as Gegard Mousasi steps into our Gears of War 4 prep point. Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now.
the Phenom, Vitor Belfort, won the heavyweight tournament at age 19 at UFC 12 in Dothan, Alabama.
Now he's had a couple of camps at his own gym, Belfort Training Center. Really felt like this was the training camp where, one, he was healthy, but he really found a rhythm, found the right mix of coaches, went out and found world-class guys in every single discipline. Did a lot of grappling, thinking that Mousasi would want to put the fight on the ground. But as always, he's very dangerous in the opening minutes of a fight.
And reunited with boxing coach Pedro Diaz, who was the coach of the Cuban Olympic team.
Really trying to maximize that hand speed. And that burst that he's shown in round one is something that Mousasi has game planned for. Mousasi doesn't want to allow it. He wants to close the distance immediately from the opening bell. Let's see if Vitor can keep his distance. And let's see if we get patient Vitor or if we get the guy who lets his hands fly right from the start.
23rd UFC fight tonight for the Phenom. Joining names like Chuck Liddell, BJ Penn, Nate Diaz, Clay Guida, former light heavyweight champion. Notable wins. Man, they've gone over the years. He's had some of the best. The wins, the battles with Couture, the fights with Franklin, fight with Michael Bisping, Luke Rockhold, Dan Henderson. He is set to go tonight. Our tale of the tape for this, our co-main event of the evening. 39-year-old Vitor Belfort, 31-year-old Gegard Mousasi, who is 2 inches taller and will have a 2-inch reach advantage. Once again, we check in with the veteran voice of the Octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the co-main event of the evening. This fight is 3 rounds in the UFC middleweight division, presented by Kevin Hart. What Now? The comedy event that made history in theaters everywhere. This Friday, tickets on sale now. And now, introducing the fighter fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 39 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 185 pounds, fighting out of Leiden, Holland, the Netherlands, presenting the former Strikeforce light heavyweight champion and the number 9 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Gegard Mousasi! And now, introducing the opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 25 wins, 12 losses. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, presenting the former UFC light heavyweight champion and the number 5 ranked middleweight contender in the world, Vitor the Phenom Belfort! And when the action begins, our referee in charge, Mark Goddard.
Mark Goddard, our referee. This our co-main event of the evening here in Manchester. The 4th time we have been inside Manchester Arena. Vitor Belfort, Gegard Mousasi.
Ready, come on, let's do it.
Here we go. Yellow trunks for Belfort, the southpaw. Blue trunks for Gegard Mousasi. Let's see how he handles the early part of this fight. Brian talking about the hand speed, the explosiveness of the Phenom.
He doesn't even want it to happen. He wants to close the distance immediately, get this fight to the ground.
Don't forget, Gears of War 4 available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition.
Mousasi's thrown several kicks now and not moved his head.
Vitor came, Gegard caught him, and then gave a non-verbal message. But that
is what Vitor Belfort is best at.
Watch the head of Mousasi. He's thrown 3 kicks so far, and he has not moved his head off the center line, and that's what allowed that counter from Vitor Belfort.
Vitor has finished all 14 of his UFC wins.
That was a hard kick to the body from Vitor Belfort.
Mousasi always so patient, so composed when he fights, Brian.
Ooh, very nice combination. Yeah, he's a very cerebral fighter, but he's actually pointed to that and said it's caused some of his worst performances. When he fought Jacare, he said, you know, I really didn't want to be there. I wasn't enthused for that fight. He's had to find a new motivation now, because he says now is his time to make a run for the title.
He was very good at UFC 200. Performance of the night, his first round win over Thiago Santos. Mousasi has finished 32 of his 39 wins. Changes levels a bit, and they break.
Excellent work by Vitor. That's going to make him very confident. Defended that takedown attempt easily. Mousasi's takedowns, he's been effective with them, but most of the time, it's because he times them well. He catches guys coming at him hard, level changes, takes him down. Not so much when he initiates the takedown behind a combination.
Watch for the left hand of Belfort. Again, good kicks utilized early by Gegard Mousasi, who lives in the Netherlands. Leiden, Holland.
It's always important when you fight Vitor Belfort, you got to make him doubt himself early. That's always the question with Vitor. Where is his confidence? When he's confident, he can beat anybody. If he starts to doubt himself and second guess a little bit, that's when he's hesitant.
Ryan, I saw Vitor in Curitiba after Jacare defeated him, and he said simply, I didn't start. I didn't be the aggressor. I wasn't the one to start the battle. I have to do so in future fights.
He's going second a little bit here tonight as he misses with the left hand, allowing Mousasi to own the center of the octagon while he skirts the fence.
Topps UFC Knockout 16 mobile trading card app, now available for iOS and Android devices. Download for free now. Under 2 on the clock here in the first round. As Brian pointed out, it has been Mousasi in the center of the octagon, and he has been the more active striker.
Now, when Vitor is unleashed, he's been quick. He's been able to beat Mousasi with a punch a couple of times. He's been few and far between so far.
Nice jab.
But again, Vitor being a little bit more patient may be good for him. He's been known to fade sometimes after the first round, being much more patient here tonight. Just misses with the head kick, but lands a left. And he is still fast.
As fast as anyone in UFC history.
Nice right hand landed there by Mousasi. He's starting to chase Belfort a little bit instead of cutting him off. Gotta be careful. Oh, lands his best combination so far.
Vitor trying to counter. Good combination lands from Mousasi.
He caught Vitor. Vitor was circling to his right, bounced to his left, then bounced to his right. Right as he was transitioning his lateral movement, Mousasi unleashed a jab cross combination. Both landed flush.
Mousasi, 31 years old, 47 fights, 3 world championships. Final 15. Good round for Gegard Mousasi.
Absolutely. Dictating the pace, dictating the range. Got to see some adjustments from Belfort in round 2.
Tonight's Corner Cam is brought to you by Gears of War 4, available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. The corner of Vitor Belfort.
Volta a respiração normal.
Breathe normally.
Respiração normal.
Breathe normally.
Movimentação tá certa. Movimentação tá certa, Vitor.
Your movement is perfect.
Vitor, você tem mais armas para usar.
You've got more of your skills to use.
Esquerda, Vitor.
niet bewegen.
Oké, dit was your round, Gegard.
Water?
He's still dangerous with his left hand. Keep the pressure. And take him down. You finish him there.
Oké, scherp hè.
Vitor Belfort trains with the Belfort team. Gegard Mousasi with Team Mousasi. His older brother's his manager. 39 career wins. If he gets 40 tonight against Belfort, it would be huge for the 31-year-old.
The real key with Mousasi is focus. He's been in fights before where if he loses focus, that's the only time that really he loses technique. You saw it with Uriah Hall, lost his focus, got knocked out.
Knocked out for the first and only time, Brian, by Uriah Hall.
Yeah. For as many fights he's had very little damage.
Crazy. 48th pro fight here tonight.
Yeah. Really speaks to just how good he is, and he snaps off a very nice jab.
Heavy kick. Big answer by Mousasi.
Yeah, well done by Mousasi. Ate the kick and followed the leg back. Nice right-hand counter. And he was able to take Vitor down right as the bell rang. See if he goes back to it as he backs Vitor Belfort up.
Take a look at some of the numbers thus far. Significant strikes. Attempted, landed.
Good defense again from Vitor. At the end of round one, when Mousasi was able to take him down, it was well done double leg right behind a combination. There he just shot naked with no punches in front of him.
90 seconds into round number 2. Belfort.
Ooh, he's hurt.
Kick. Mousasi looking for the finish. Wow! Can Vitor survive? What? My goodness!
What a tornado of strikes from Mousasi.
Unbelievable, but it's not done, Brian. Vitor's in big trouble here.
Well, 3 minutes left, and Mousasi is outstanding on the ground, both with his strikes and submissions, raining down hammer fists here.
Vitor trying to fight back.
Doing a nice job, pulling the head down, landing a couple good elbows there, but now full mount for Mousasi.
Vitor, can he survive? Looking for the submission close. More punishment from Mousasi.
Mousasi so hard to get out from underneath him. Easily transitions to mount, and this has been an area that's really been difficult for Vitor Belfort. His last 3 fights, 2 of them against Jacare and Chris Weidman, he struggled to escape their mount. This could be it.
It is all over. Gegard Mousasi stops Vitor Belfort. Unbelievable heart shown in round 2 here by the Brazilian.
No doubt Vitor never gave up. Just got caught in a really tough position and rocked badly by Mousasi, who the patience as he executed the finish there.
Take a look at it, Brian. Our fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1 to right now.
Well, it started with the head kick. Boom, right over the left hand of Vitor Belfort. And then he came in with just a tornado of punches. Watch, hand drops, bam! He doesn't know if the kick's coming to the body or the head. Gegard jumps all over him, too. Excellent accuracy when you're throwing this many punches. Look how many of these are connecting. And then gorgeous transitions, no matter what Vitor did. Mousasi was in dominant position and just never allowed Vitor to recover. Good stoppage there by Mark Goddard.
Victory number 40 for Gegard Mousasi. Finish number 33. Time for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30 period. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mark Goddard's called a stop to this contest at 2 minutes, 43 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by TKO, Gegard Mousasi.
All right, I'm here with your winner, Gegard Mousasi. You waited a long time to fight Vitor Belfort. You get the finish. How happy are you with your performance?
Well, he's a legend, you know. Fighting him is an honor. And I like Vitor a lot. He's a nice guy, besides being a great athlete.
Well, let's take a look. You landed the head kick, and it really started from there. Did you see that opening, or did you just land the kick and then go for the finish?
Well, you know, he's a southpaw. He's very good with his left kick, but I can do the same because he's southpaw. He doesn't see the kick. So, what he can do, I thought I can do also.
A lot of big middleweight fights on the horizon. Chris Weidman's going to take on Yo Romero. Luke Rockhold going to fight again against Jacare. Obviously, tonight, Michael Bisping fights Dan Henderson. Any of the winners of those fights, obviously the middleweight title, but any of the winners of Romero, Weidman, Jacare, Rockhold interest you?
It all makes sense for me. I'd rather fight soon, and Anderson Silva is a great fight for me. But, you know, whoever they give me, I have to fight number 1 to 4 maybe next time, so I'm ready.
Anderson Silva's not matched up. That's a fight I would certainly want to watch. Excellent performance. Ladies and gentlemen, Gegard Mousasi.
Big victory for Gegard Mousasi. Great respect to Vitor. What a performance. He is amongst the best. Tonight's Jittacam is presented by Gears of War 4. Available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. We go inside the locker room of the UFC middleweight champion of the world, Manchester's own Michael Bisping, tied for number 1 all-time with George St. Pierre with 19 UFC victories, one of 5 Ultimate Fighter winners to win a UFC World Championship. The rematch comes 7 years later. UFC 100, Dan Henderson by knockout. Tonight, the 47th fight of a 19-year career. 17 of 18 career finishes by strikes. Dan Henderson is missing just 1 belt. So the rematch, our main event, is coming up next. But first, a message from a comedic rock star.
What's going on, UFC fans? Man, if I didn't have these tight jeans on, I'd give a nice little roundhouse kick to show you how official this moment is. Check out this new exclusive clip from my movie, What Now? After you watch the clip, get back to doing what you do best, watching the fight. Get dead.
Her name is Hart, Kevin Hart.
This Friday.
So what now?
It's time to show the world just how funny Kevin Hart is.
Experience the comedy event.
Can't do it with your mind. This is gonna pay for my global tour.
Close your mouth, Kevin.
That made history. What now?
It's on you. Check that phone.
I'm not mad. I'm the Black Iron Man, and I'm rusty.
Rated R. In theaters Friday.
We are now set for our main event of the evening, sponsored by Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now. 5 rounds of fighting for the UFC Middleweight Championship. Michael Bisping, Dan Henderson. Michael Bisping with that big win over Luke Rockhold.
7 years Michael Bisping has waited. Rarely do you see a champion call someone out who beat them before, but that's exactly what Michael Bisping wanted. The man who gave him the most devastating defeat of his career gets a shot in the middleweight title.
It's a big opportunity for Michael Bisping, redemption, obviously revenge, and fighting here at home. He's the most popular Brit of all time when it comes to mixed martial arts, and the most successful.
He certainly is, and his success comes from his work ethic.
Yeah.
He's in the gym every single day, trains year-round, and always improves. He's a guy, when you talk to him, he's always finding something in his game that he needs to get better at. Now, on the opposite side lies one of the toughest toughest people in the history of this sport in Dan Henderson. I mean, this man is incredible. Just when you think it's over, it's not finished yet.
And that's the beauty of this fight. It may be the last of Hendo's career, but it will be exciting if Dan Henderson can get that H-bomb to unload on Michael Bisping. Back at UFC 100, he did indeed land the biggest H-bomb of his career.
Michael Bisping, he's part of MMA history because of that one knockout. You know, he's most known for being knocked out by me. It was a great knockout, but in my mind, it wasn't my biggest accomplishment by any means. I've done a lot of things in the sport. I've been fighting for almost 20 years. I've got 2 or 3 Pride belts and a Strikeforce belt as well, and I would have been completely satisfied to retire after my last fight.
I'm not sure what's going to happen after this fight, but that could have been the last one of my career.
The UFC is the last belt that I set a goal to get. The stars aligned in the right way to make it happen. Michael Bisping really had nothing to offer until he won that belt.
He got rocked! Bisping caught him with a left! Michael Bisping is the new UFC middleweight champion of the world!
Ever since I lost that first fight, I always wanted a rematch. It's not about defending the title. It's about getting revenge against Dan Henderson, a man that knocked me out unconscious, a man that followed it up with a second vicious blow that could have rendered me brain damage for the rest of my life. I want to put him in his place and wipe that smug look off his face.
He can say whatever he wants. I know that I'm going to beat him up. I couldn't script a better finish to my career.
He's not going to get that fairy tale ending that he wants. I'm going to make a fool out of him. I'm going to embarrass him. I'm going to leave him in a bloody mess. Adios, sayonara, whatever the you want to say, Dan Henderson is done.
Tonight, the third opportunity for Dan Henderson to win a UFC championship. UFC 75, September 2007 in London, defeated by Rampage. UFC 82, March of 2008, submitted by Anderson Silva. He said, and I quote, "I won't waste this opportunity."
They put together an excellent camp for him, brought in world-class kickboxers to mimic Michael Bisping, but then also had him take a day off in the middle of the week to rest. You know, that's one of the keys for a man of his age to still be competing at such a high level, taking 2 days off a week, specifically that one in the middle, and really listening to his body.
Hendo steps into our Gears of War 4 prep point. Gears of War 4 available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now. Nearly 20 years he has been a professional mixed martial artist. Obviously, he's amongst the greatest fighter who ever lived. 46 years old, 47th pro fight, and he landed his first head kick in the win against Lombard.
He gets it done, doesn't matter where it is. You know, talking to his coaches, they believe that his timing is really on point for this competition. Said he's seeing things in slow motion now. Dan feels that if Michael Bisping fights him the way he fought Luke Rockhold, Dan said this could be an easy fight for me.
Hendo, Dan Henderson. The rematch coming 7 years, 2 months, and 27 days since UFC 100. Tonight, the 12th headliner, man is he beloved here at home. Both times he has fought here, Brian, previously, he has won by second round TKO and earned fight of the night.
There's no quitting, there's no giving up, there's never been any strain in his belief in himself. He continues to work hard. Looks at his own game, constantly looking for ways to improve. A resting heart rate of 35 beats per minute. It's almost a corpse at this point. That's the kind of conditioning he's bringing into this fight. Despite his age, he feels like he's in the best shape of his career. And when you look at the striking in his last 2 fights, sitting down on his punches, his left hook has become a very good power punch. Could be a huge weapon here tonight against Dan Henderson.
Used it against Anderson Silva, used it to win the belt against Luke Rockhold in his 26th UFC fight. It was his first title opportunity on 17 days' notice. Tonight, Bisping joins Tito Ortiz and Frank Mir for tops all-time 27 fights inside the octagon. The champion! Michael Bisping. Our tale of the tape for this, our main event of the evening. The champion is 37 years old. The challenger, 9 years his elder. Bisping 2 inches taller. He will have a slight reach advantage. Once again, let's check in with Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. Our 3 judges scoring this contest at Octagon side are Andreas Gruner, Jeff Mullen, and Andy Roberts. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon, Yves Lavigne. This bout is sponsored by IconicFaceoff.com, the UFC social gaming partner, Real Friends, Real Money, Real Time, and Twins.com. And Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get Gears of War 4, Ultimate Edition, and play now. And now, this is the moment UFC fans watching around the world have been waiting for. Live from the sold-out Manchester Arena in Manchester, England. It's undisputed UFC middleweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist holding a professional record, 32 wins, 14 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 184 pounds. Fighting out of Temecula, California, USA, presenting the former Pride welterweight and middleweight champion and the former Strikeforce light heavyweight champion, the challenger, Dan Henderson. And now introducing the champion, fighting out of the red corner, a Valley Tudo fighter holding a professional record, 30 wins, 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 185 pounds. Fighting out of Manchester, England, presenting the reigning, defending, undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
Michael, gentlemen, protect yourself at all time, obey my command at all time. If you want to touch up, do it now, go back to your corner.
The rivalry began in 2009. It was the first time Michael Bisping had been knocked out at UFC 100. Hendo, Bisping, 7 years later, for the title.
You ready? Ready? Fight!
Here we go! Black trunks for Bisping, white trunks for Henderson.
Right away, you see Michael Bisping sitting down in his stance a little bit.
Don't forget, Gears of War 4 available October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Play today with the Ultimate Edition. This place is awesome right now.
Incredible. Whole crowd behind Michael Bisping. You can see he's seated in his stance, feet planted, looking to deliver powerful shots, but wants to come in and be patient. Wants to drag this in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th rounds. Feels like every round this fight goes, his advantage grows.
It is 4:50 a.m. and we are sold out.
Every single night this week, Michael Bisping has been in the gym at this time. Every night, very disciplined, stayed on U.S. time so he'd be ready to defend this belt.
Henderson was in trouble early against Lombard, but landed a head kick, finished the fight. He is always dangerous.
Both of these men have an incredible ability to recover. We saw it 2 times against Shogun Rua. We saw it with Dan Henderson against Hector Lombard. With Michael Bisping, we saw it against Anderson Silva. He was hurt badly, came back. He's been rocked many times in his career, come back to win the fight.
Thus, Brian, the early caution and discipline of the champion.
Yes, you see Dan Henderson whiffs on the H-bomb, smiles at Michael. But Hendo was very patient against Hector Lombard. Had excellent timing with his right hand.
Dan likes to set up the H-bomb with that low kick from the left side.
The right side of Dan Henderson's chin has seemed it's been the button in recent years, where when guys can connect on that right side, that will tend to drop him. Now he has recovered as well.
No one has landed more total strikes than Michael Bisping. Tops all time in significant strikes, second all time in total strikes in the middleweight division, nearly 1,500. And he connects there.
He's doing a really nice job, not fully committing to each strike, throwing it just enough to connect, but then get out of the pocket.
There's a cut on the forehead, right around the nose of Bisping. So Henderson caught him somewhere.
Yeah, right in the forehead.
Yep. Henderson with the double jab. 2-time Olympian.
Henderson being smart, being very patient, keeping his right hand very high.
A lot of blood starting to come down on the face of Bisping.
He's been fighting for a long time, built up a lot of scar tissue.
Man, they love their own. Don't forget, represent your country pride with the UFC Fight Kit, now available in new colors. Get your jersey at ufcstore.eu.
Again, Michael Bisping pumping the jab, but doing a nice job pushing back up his left foot, getting out of range of the counter strikes of Dan Henderson.
Bisping representing Great Britain, the nation's pride on his shoulders here.
Nice feints from Dan Henderson. Excellent idea if he wants to draw out the jab of Michael Bisping and then uncork that right hand. Just misses there.
Very disciplined first round by the champion.
There you get a look at the head movement. That's really been key for him in his last two fights. In the pocket. Michael's always been hard to hit at range, but he has done a nice job.
Oh, he's marked! The right hand again! Henderson! Looking for the finish! Can Bisping recover? Big elbow!
He's trying to get hold, but he can't. And Dan is going crazy on top with that right hand.
Bisping up for now! Wow! Look at the smile on the face of Dan Henderson.
We talked about the conditioning. That's what it gains you.
Look at the swelling under the left eye of the champion.
Bisping smiling, going back to his stool.
Breathe. He got you the right hand. Got to stay focused in there, Mikey. You're fine. Shake it off. Give me an ice bag. Give me an ice bag. Hey, you're fine. Slow it down. Water right here. You're good. But you got to have a cut. You're going to deal with that. You've dealt with cuts before.
Come on.
Your condition's there, man. His mouth's opening already. All right, stay focused in there, all right, bud? Hey, you were winning that round. He caught you at the end, all right? Hit you with the right hand, all right?
All right, let's take a look at the big right hand. Mike goes to the left hook, and there you see he's open. Beautiful, well-timed counter from Dan Henderson. He stayed patient, waited for the right opportunity, got his head off center line, came right over the shoulder. And unbelievable that Michael Bisping was able to recover because Dan landed a lot of shots on top.
UFC 204, Bisping versus Henderson 2. Sponsored by Gears of War 4, available on October 11th on Xbox One and Windows 10. Get the Ultimate Edition and play now. Bisping told Jason Perillo, I'm all right. He said, what did he get me with? The right hand.
He's been there before. Michael Bisping's been rocked in round one, come back and made the adjustments. But that's against guys that don't have the kind of power that Dan Henderson possesses.
Brian Henderson landing the big right early in the fight. How does that change the complexion of this rematch?
Well, you would think it would make Michael Bisping a little bit more hesitant, but he just went right back to that lead left hook again, which is the punch he got countered. But remember, when guys get rocked like that, he didn't remember what hit him. So Mike doesn't realize that it came off that left hook. Now look at the swelling under the left eye of Michael Bisping. His corner did not press that down and use the proper things to reduce the swelling.
Head kick. They're going to chop down the leg of Henderson. Bisping wants to start to put together those combinations that he has been so successful with over his career.
And he should stick with the jab, stick with the left leg kicks, get rid of the lead left upper or left hook. Instead, look for the left hook after he throws the right hand. It's much harder to counter.
Keep an eye on the cardio of Henderson. When it became somewhat obvious to Dan that Michael was going to be okay, he did slow down. He saved some of his energy for here in round two and the rest of the fight.
And he threw about 50 elbows on top of Mike with everything he had. His mouth is wide open right now.
And that's what Jason Perillo talked about in between rounds. Don't forget, immediately following our main event right here, Check out the UFC 204 post-fight show on FS2, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. In Canada, flip over to TSN.
Mike's starting to find his rhythm.
Nicely done, that rocked him.
Very nice.
Again with the right hand, though.
But he took it. You saw a grin there from Michael Bisping. And again, Hendo counters with the right hand. You can see Mike is looking to land something to the right side of Dan Henderson's chin. And we talked about that this week, and he said, yeah, he saw that on tape, that's been a little bit of a button.
Following up with another kick.
But you can't lose focus for a second against Dan Henderson. I don't care how tired he is, how hurt he is. I mean, he was losing clearly to Shogun Rua. And in the third round, uncorked a right hand from hell and finished it.
I mean, let's just look back to his last fight against Hector Lombard.
And there you see Mike's being smart. He's coming forward, being aggressive, but immediately getting out of range.
Putting together combinations, he is certainly the aggressor here.
And Hendo's a vet. He knows he's got 5 rounds. If he's going to take this round off a little bit, regain all of his steam, he'll do so. He's been here so many times before.
He's rocked! Again, that body shot hurt him, or did it go low?
Kicked him in the groin.
Backing up! With the right!
It appeared a moment ago, before Henderson rocked him, that Yves Lavigne missed a groin shot. Yes. Henderson was trying to signal to it, but it didn't really matter anyways.
Just when we thought Bisping had taken control.
The heart on both of these guys. Very smart of Michael Bisping. Tie him up. No effective ground and pound here so far as Michael Bisping recovers. Henderson's got to pummel that right arm inside.
Trying to alter the breathing of Bisping. You see Henderson trying to posture up here late in the second.
And this very well could put Dan Henderson up 2 rounds. I mean, Michael Bisping clearly winning that round. Outstruck him by a good amount. Henderson happy to just stay on top here.
Yep.
Stay focused, Mikey. Come on, let's sit down. Breathing. You're letting him catch you at the end of each round. You're good. Your right hand again. Listen. Every time you go.
Bisping makes a miss, comes with the right hand, stuns him, follows it up. Bam! There's the kick to the groin. Hey, not Michael Bisping's fault. That's Yves Lavigne who needs to stop that action. Bisping going right after him, looking for the finish, but leaves that left hand lingering, and that's what happens. Boom!
You're really taking over in this fight. You stay focused. You see him go low. You see him go low, he's going to throw that right.
Corner Dan Henderson.
Hey, don't worry about now. Don't worry about anything. It's all mental.
The cut under the eye, the left eye of Bisping. Right where Henderson wants to put that right hand. The whole world, Brian, knows it's coming, and he still delivers, and he still connects.
And there are an awful lot of fighters who wouldn't even think to get up after that. And Michael Bisping continues to fight through it. I mean, incredible heart. He's got so many qualities, but that one that's not talked about enough.
Both men.
Absolutely.
Had the switch kick to the body a moment ago.
Big right hand landed there by Bisping.
Jason
right back to rhythm.
said, you're starting to take control of this fight.
What I didn't hear, and he may have said it, because we didn't have the mic on the whole time, but when the only time Mike's getting hit is when he gets lazy with his left hand and he drags it back low instead of back to his face.
Third round. The one thing missing in the trophy case, one of the greatest of all time, the UFC belt.
And he has come extremely close twice now to getting that wrapped around his waist.
The closest he has in his career.
Ever. That's the thing. I mean, he could be tired. It doesn't matter with this guy. He could throw no punches until the last 30 seconds. If he just lands one, it could end the fight.
Last title opportunity was in 2008 for Hendo.
I think this is a really smart game plan by Dan Henderson. He doesn't need volume. He knows he's not going to outpace Michael Bisping in 25 minutes. Staying patient, and he's looking for what he does best, and that's the knockout.
Bisping pressuring again here with 3 on the clock. Wanted that switch kick to the body, saw it wasn't there.
Henderson's done a great job. His right hand has been attached to that right side of his face for most of this fight.
Most of his career.
Nice leg kick from Michael Bisping.
Total strikes thus far in our fight.
Oh my. Doesn't matter. You don't even need to count the strikes of Dan Henderson, right? Who
Quick
cares?
switch, yep.
There's been 2 strikes of his that really matter, the ones that put Michael Bisping on the floor.
Exactly.
Now right back where we were in round 2. Bisping in a rhythm. Bisping keeping his range, but he heard Jason Preux tell him, stay focused. He's got to stay focused here and not get caught.
The first British UFC champion looking to defend here in his hometown. Colorful heritage, lineage, and all kinds of personality as he fires that left hand 3-4 times.
He landed several punches in that exchange. Dan did land one right hand.
Swelling under the left eye doesn't look as bad, Brian.
No, it doesn't. I think they treated it properly in between rounds that time.
Jab connects for Hendo.
Bisping starting to feint a little bit, doing an excellent job getting back in and out of the pocket, using good footwork here.
Body. 46 years old. Right back up.
Deep breaths for Dan Henderson.
1 minute, Michael! 1 minute!
Look at the numbers.
And look at all the fakes from Michael Bisping. This is an excellent adjustment. He's faking, feinting, faking, feinting, not giving Dan Henderson the chance to time that big bomb.
This is much like he did against Anderson Silva.
Did it against Anderson Silva, did it against me. He did it to a lot of fighters where he gets rocked early, makes the proper adjustments, comes out on top and wins the fight.
Big, deep breaths from Henderson. His body shots. Landing with big force by the champ.
And Hendo's looking to catch his breath. He knows. But when he does have the energy, when he gets his wind back, that's where Henderson needs to throw more combinations. He's looking and he's done a good job so far. There it is again, of timing that right.
That time Michael was able to get out of harm's way more.
He rolled with it a lot better. He wasn't coming straight into it as he raises the head kick there, and Henderson, he smiles at him.
We're heading to the championship round.
Right now, you're starting to take control. There you go. Sit down, Dan.
Let's sit down and wipe right there.
You look good, Dan.
Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hey, no more rounds like that. No more round like that, okay? No.
We're winning the round, Dan. We got this.
No more rounds like that, man.
Breathe.
You see, when you go after, you hit him. You can't just wait on him and score points. Yeah, you're down this round. You gotta go forth now.
Take the shots up and put them together a little bit more. Very good work. That jab looks good. Stay behind it. Look really good, Mikey. All right, let's start pulling away now, all right? These next 2 rounds are ours, all right? Stay focused in there.
Beautiful round, Mike. Go, seconds out.
Yeah.
Hey, watch the switch.
First UFC
Step back,
fight
Dan.
for Henderson was in
Thank
May
you.
of
Behind the black line. Thank you.
1998.
Fight!
Championship rounds. Tenth time Henderson scheduled for 5 rounds in the UFC and in his Strikeforce fights.
And last time Dan Henderson was in the 4th round was back in 2011 in his first fight with Shogun Rua, and he faded badly in that fight, gassed in the last round.
He was mounted for pretty much the entire time of round number 5.
He still won the decision.
Yes.
But Michael Bisping clearly won round 3. Hendo clearly won round 1. Round 2 will be interesting to see how they score because Bisping really controlled the bulk of it. Also rocked Henderson, but Hendo dropped him violently.
Bisping again looking to mix it up. Hendo looking for that spot, right, Brian?
Oh, there it is. Times it. But now, 4th round. Mike smiles at him, talking to him a little bit there as well. Not the same pop it had in rounds 1 and 2, obviously.
Henderson has only been stopped 3 times in his career by knockout or TKO.
Well, they really wanted Dan to back Michael Bisping up. And he does so very well when he works behind his jab. Let's see if Dan Henderson can get more offensive here in this round. As his corner told him, you can't sit back and wait like you did in round 3.
See if we can put
Heavy
it
kick from Hendo.
now.
Jason Perillo.
3 minutes.
Put your kicks up, Michael.
Hey, watch that right. Hey, it's all right. It's all right.
Let's go there. That's the 2nd time, I know. Take your time.
Dan Henderson should take every minute
stay there,
of this.
Uncle.
Catch all of his
That's
air,
the 2nd
catch
time,
all of his
Michael. You have
wind.
to be careful with that, okay? Next time, I make starting deducting point, okay? Come on.
And Levine recognizing that first one.
Just be careful now.
Earlier in
Just
the fight,
be careful,
Brian,
okay?
2nd time. Dan said.
So,
Levine
how are you
said,
now?
I know.
Yeah, he clearly missed the first one.
Okay. How much time?
He has up to 5 minutes.
Smart, Dan Henderson. He's going to max it. He's going to max it. Shaking it on a little bit. None of this stuff works, by the way, but it's worth a shot. I've tried it all.
So, how are you feeling now?
How do you think he feels, Heath?
Okay. You had the whole time in the world.
And Bisping taunting him, mocking him, saying he's milking it.
That will have absolutely no effect on Hendo. This is it.
You all right?
His
Okay.
final
Get
opportunity.
ready. Mr. Bisping, just be careful, okay? Good. You ready? Ready? Time in. Fight!
We continue.
Could have given Dan Hendo the time he needed to get his win and uncork one more bomb.
As you pointed out earlier, that right hand not as dynamic as it was earlier. Could it be now after that break in the action?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, a 50% Dan Henderson punch will still probably knock out the bulk of the middleweight division.
Man, he was close in round 1.
Oh.
And with that break, you can see Bisping being cautious again like earlier in the fight.
Fakes and feints, retreating after every jab. Now there's what Dan Henderson needs to do more. Back Michael Bisping up, trap him against the fence. Much harder to evade an overhand right or a big right hand when you're trapped against the fence.
Bisping, 9th time scheduled for 5 rounds in the UFC, is 5-3 in those fights.
Mike continues to kick at that right arm as well.
It's the 5th time he's gone into the championship round.
Now, this is exactly where Michael Bisping wanted the fight to go. He's visualized this, trained for it, wanted it to go to the later rounds. Nice combination there, though, from Dan Henderson, who's starting to throw a little bit more volume. Ooh, just missed with the overhand right there. One thing is, though, when Dan Henderson gets more offensive, he's also open to more counter shots as well. Hendo never really known for being a sound defensive fighter.
He just waits for his opportunity and knocks people out. 3rd grade is when he started wrestling. Represented the United States in 2 Olympic Games. The only man to hold 2 belts simultaneously in MMA.
Yeah, people joke in America about how tough Chuck Norris is. Dan Henderson makes Chuck Norris wet the bed.
And how about the win over Fedor?
Bisping doing a nice job staying busy at range.
Season 3 Ultimate Fighter.
10 seconds could be another solid round. Clear round for Michael Bisping, but he ate a knee there.
No.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, how's your round? How's your round? Breathing. Breathing. You got to stay focused in there, bud. You're throwing a lot of ones right now. Let's see if you can feint. At least feint before him, all right? Get him to bite a little bit because he's trying to time you. You know what he's doing. That's why I want to give him here, right here.
Give it to me.
You got it. Stay relaxed. Stay focused. The last round right now. You stay focused, stay ahead the whole round.
You got it.
It's no more feint. Make him throw wild by feinting.
Okay.
And make him pay.
All right,
you look good.
He's afraid of your right hand. You take the fight to him.
Breathe.
He won that belt. Let's go get it now. Let's go get it. It's time. It's the last round. It's the round of your life.
Let's go get ready, man. Okay, let's go. Seconds out.
5 minutes remain.
Step back a little bit. Last round, Mr. Bisping. Step back a little bit. Thank you. Fight!
The corner screaming at Henderson, wanting him to go after it. Seems to be breathing better at the start of the 5th than he did in the 4th.
Bisping gets creative. Henderson again looks for that knee.
Well, it's combinations like that where Dan Henderson can catch you. Michael Bisping being very smart and avoiding the pocket right now at all costs. Controlling range, working behind his jab with lots of feints. A nice combination there for Dan Henderson.
Hendo, 17 of 18 career finishes by strikes.
Hendo starting to go hunting now.
4 minutes. This rivalry, the bad blood, all the animosity. Deep down there is huge respect shared between these 2 men. And it's building throughout this great fight. Hendo's corner.
Dan, you finish this fight! You finish it! Finish this fight, Dan!
really hard time reaching Michael Bisping. He's starting his combinations to center the octagon. He's got to force and push Michael Bisping back to get his back against the fence. Now he's got him there. Now is where he needs to unleash.
Fakes the takedown.
It's a nice knee to the body, though.
3 minutes.
Much closer round in terms of strikes landed here in the 5th than it was in the 4th. Really not sure how the referees would have scored round 2. Round 1, clearly Dan Henderson. He may have stolen round 2 with a big knockdown.
Midway point of the 5th and final round. The last round of Dan Henderson's career. At least that's what we think. Bisping looking to defend it home. Caught him with the hook at the end. Hendo's going to go for it here, Brian. He takes a look at the clock. Uppercut, 2 minutes. Oof.
No doubt, he is firing him. Just a really nice job from Michael Bisping. Keeping his distance, not really committing too much. And Hendo gets him there with the right hand.
It's inside. 145.
On a takedown. Well done, beautiful knee tap there from Dan Henderson.
Going back to the basics. Wrestling 101.
Very smart. 1:29 left. Top position for Dan Henderson.
Hold it. Bisping's up. Still though, that scored.
Big in this round. He's landed some significant strikes. Really could be anybody's round with a minute to go.
Anybody's fight.
Yeah, exactly.
1 minute. The rematch over 7 years in the making. And it has not disappointed. Hendo looking for another takedown. Bisping fights it off.
Good defense there from Michael Bisping. And now Henderson launches a right hand. Let's see if Bisping starts putting together some combinations in the last 30 seconds.
Effective striking, a key component to the judges' scorecard.
And he's got to be careful. He doesn't want to rush in and get dropped by Hendo.
10 seconds remain.
Excellent fight. How Michael Bisping managed to survive those 2 knockdowns in rounds 1 and 2. Incredible heart. A very strategic approach from Dan Henderson, who paced himself, was able to come alive at the right times.
Fight replay brought to you by Bud Light. Raise one to right now.
There's the first big right hand. Drops Michael Bisping in round 1. Boom. And Hendo unleashed on top. Expended a lot of energy here looking for the finish. Bisping survives it. Smiles going back. He would stun Dan Henderson and rock him here in round 2. Groin shot, Evil Bean doesn't see it, doesn't matter, because Henderson would come back with another beautifully timed counter overhand right, dropping Michael Bisping again and dominating the final seconds of round 2 in top position. But then in the championship rounds, Michael Bisping would find his rhythm, start to control this fight, landing combination after combination, getting his rhythm. And then there in round 5, a much closer round. Here's the end of round 5. Goes for the flying knee. Lands a left. Henderson does a forward roll. And Bisping landed some decent ground and pound there, maybe enough to win him that round. That was a very close 5th round.
Time for our official decision, brought to you by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE T-Mobile network for just $30, period. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. The judges score the contest 48-47, 48-47, and 49-46 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael "The Count" Bisping.
What a fight.
Amazing, guys. Incredible.
I'm here with your winner and champion, Michael Bisping. Michael, people talk about your skill. Tonight, your heart. Incredible. Please give us your thoughts on your first title defense.
First of all, give it up for Dan Henderson, everybody. This guy is incredible. At his age, he just kicks my ass, man. Dan, good job. He's tough as old boots and all the trash talking. You got to respect the guy's a legend. Round of applause. What's up, Manchester? The support that you guys show me melts my heart every time. Seriously, I know it's cliched because I say it every time, but this place sold out in 6 minutes. I don't even know what to say. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I mean that. I'm not being cheesy. Thank you all so much. Rebecca, Calamel, and Lucas, I love you. These guys here, all of them. My old man, come here, Dad. Come here, Dad. My mum's here. Mum, what's up? My family at home, everybody. Thank you all. And Manchester, come on. Thank you.
7 years you waited to avenge that loss. How happy are you with this victory in your first title defense, Michael?
You know, listen, I know people spoke and said, oh, you know, he's not #1 contender or anything. This guy knocked me out cold. Cold. Worst knockout in UFC history. The jitters that I had this week, it's all well and good having bravado, but stepping in here, look at my face for crying out loud. You know what this guy can do. That took a lot of courage for me to do that. I'm not bigging myself up. Well, I guess I am. But what was the question, Brian?
It doesn't matter, Mike. The performance was incredible. The recovery was incredible. Now, we've got a lot of middleweight fights coming up. What are you looking for in the next challenger for your belt?
First of all, again, Manchester, thank you all so much. The UK, England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, thank you all. I'll take this to my grave. Now, that's out of the way. Forgive my language, all you fucking arseholes in the rest of the division. Weidman, what the hell? You lost your last fight. I've had 3 victories since you got your ass kicked off Luke Rockhold. Rockhold, I knocked you out in 3 minutes, buddy. Yoel Romero, you're suspended for steroids. Shame on you. And Jacare, you just got me off your butt. All of you. Win a fight, get off the couch, and fucking let's do this.
Nothing left to say. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion, Michael Bisping. I'm here with all-time great, one of the best to ever do it. Dan, incredibly close fight.
What happened with the cheers before the fight?
Everybody respects you. Everybody's wondering, Dan, is this the last time we see you in the octagon?
Yeah, I guess fortunate for you guys, unfortunate for those who didn't come. That was the last time that anyone will see me fight live. So I appreciate all the support throughout the years, worldwide. You know, I gave my heart and soul to this sport, and fans like you, even though you booed me at the beginning of the night, made it worthwhile for me to keep competing year after year. You know, I just absolutely love the sport. And I I want to say thank you to the fans for making this fight happen, and thank you to Michael Bisping for giving me this opportunity. My last fight for the belt, you know, I came up a little short, but not bad for an old man, huh? I wish they judged the fight on how you look after the fight.
Dan, it's been an honor to watch you fight, an honor to call your fights. You will forever go down as one of the best ever, future Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Henderson.
I just want to say hello to my kids at home. They didn't make the trip. They missed my last fight, but they saw it live on TV. Hello, Reese, Sierra, Sophie, and Danny. I love you guys, and I'll be home soon.
The champion defends here at home. His opponent, his next stop is the Hall of Fame. Michael Bisping by unanimous decision, and I like what Hendo says. I wish they judged the fight by how you look afterwards. What a battle. Back and forth it was. Hard courage, everything shown in this fight. All right, let's check out some earlier action at 135.
The fighting pride of East London, Brad Pickett is looking to keep his winning ways intact tonight against yet another tough challenge in the former Brazilian veteran, Yuri Alcantara. Here we go! The Brazilian in the yellow trunks, the southpaw. Brad Pickett in the red trunks.
Pickett spent the last 2 weeks of training here in England instead of ATT. He wanted to get acclimated. Actually did train at 3 in the morning to get used to the time zone.
Conversely, a little bit too late, it's only 2:30.
Yeah, his timing was a little off. Alcantara actually left Brazil, trained in Albuquerque. The team Jackson Winklejohn said he's gotten the best sparring he'd ever gotten in his career.
Says he's always looking for improvement, especially in striking. At Jackson Wink, and he delivers early.
The double knee went right between the guard of Brad Pickett. And look at Pickett, man, just eats it, and he's right back in the pocket.
26 career victories for Pickett, swing and a miss. Alcantara, 32.
And notice how Alcantara is actually backing away. He's landing his strikes and then getting out of distance, knowing his biggest weakness has been when he's taken down and he's too patient on his back. He'll ride out the round on his back and lose rounds because of it. Pickett certainly knows this and thought that his wrestling would be able to score him big points in this matchup. But he's rocked! That's it.
He's in big trouble!
Get out of there, Brad! Get out of there, Brad!
Can Brad Pickett survive here? Big shots, hammer fists.
He was rocked bad by the elbow, then the follow-on punches. Alcantara looking to set up a submission here. Now full mount, going for the mounted triangle. If he pulls this elbow across, this could be it. It'll be very difficult. Now he's going to convert it into an armbar. Excellent transition for Brad Pickett, who now is back in the triangle. Wow. Beautiful chain submissions here from Alcantara. And that's it.
It is all over. Brad Pickett taps Yuri Alcantara, first round submission victory.
Incredible. He started right away with the striking and really dominated that fight from the start. That is the most focused we've seen Alcantara in his career.
Our move of the fight, sponsored by Metro PCS, where you get nationwide coverage on the blazing fast 4G LTE mobile network for just $30 period.
Started with the spinning back elbow, right hand, left hook. Pickett goes down, and you got to give a lot of credit here to Alcantara, who really rained down punches, didn't gas himself out, looking for the mounted triangle, converts it to the arm bar. Pickett defends well. Look at how Alcantara rolls the hips, controls the wrist, now switches back up to the triangle, and even with the elbow not across the belly button, still gets it tight enough by pulling down the head.
Yuri Alcantara, 13 career wins by knockout. That submission, his 13th
career win by submission. Don't forget, let us know what you think was the best move of the night at #MetroMove and tune into the UFC 204 post-fight show on FS2.
Thank you.
Galera de Belém, tô chegando.
Feliciro.
Fala.
Disappointed Brad Pickett, pride of East London. But Alcantara, wow.
Just got off to a tremendously fast start. He was sharp. And really, once he got that momentum and rocked him, non-stop, and just some beautiful